Every so often, the Conservative Party looks at the polls and realises there's a fuck around and find out element to their record in power. At the time of recording, that's 13 years, and over the space of that time, everything from the NHS to education to Brexit, social care to transport to food supply to childcare, everything's been allowed to descend and decline to a state where, were these same top hat twants exposed to it as footage from another country, they would mock it as something that would never happen here. Paradoxically, they would use it to foment their British exceptionalism. Except it is happening here. It's been happening on their watch and for over a decade. And on the rare occasion the Tories decide to take a brief holiday here in objective reality and see the polls, they're forced to decide whether to quickly govern in the interest of the people, whether that's price caps or windfall taxes or building houses, or to continue to operate as little more than an administration team for billionaires who buy policy. And yes, they go for the latter. So while your life has probably gotten harder and shitter over the last decade with fewer holidays, more expensive food, ballooning mortgage payments, they know you might kick off about that, so they do two things. One, they try their best to criminalise protest, and two, they try to distract you with shit you frankly shouldn't care about. Then when you're looking over here, they and their mates carry on looting public services. Then when we complain that these services need more funding, they're like, well, the NHS has never had so much money. And then we're like, yeah, but the only problem is you put some fat cat caviar cunt in as the middleman supplying the doctors, so now the staff will cost 3 times the price. So now we're in a situation where for every asylum seeker who crosses the channel that costs us, what, 20 grand, 50 grand? We've got a Baroness Moan milking us for 60 mil. But that is their business model. They are an admin team who sell policy to billionaires. But to distract from that, every 10 days you'll have another deluge of hysterical headlines about invasion this and travel lodges that. Like, that's why the waiting list is so long, because a few brown people rocked up. Right. Are you sure it's not because you're draining the hospital of the funds that it desperately needs? No, it's the Dingies. Shut the fuck up! Anything to distract from their colossal failure, from their obvious corruption. 13 years in government. 13! Unlucky for some, deadly for others. Put simply, don't fall for it. It's all a distraction. And the only small boat you should care about is this bitch's yacht.